I want to talk about truth, not comfort, not opinion, not what sounds good, not what makes people feel safe, but the actual truth. Because I think one of the biggest problems today is that people have completely blurred the line between truth and perception. People say, that's your truth, that's my truth. Everyone has their own truth. No, everyone has their own experiences, everyone has their own perception, everyone has their own interpretation. But truth itself is not personal. Truth is what remains, whether you believe in it or not. And that's where people get very uncomfortable. Because the second you say that truth is objective, people start getting extremely defensive. They think you're trying to control them, they think you're trying to judge them, they think you're saying you know everything. That's not what I'm saying. I say all the time that I know nothing. Socrates put this very well. And the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. That doesn't mean that truth doesn't exist. It means that truth is bigger than my ego. It means truth is bigger than your feelings, bigger than culture, bigger than group opinions, bigger than what is socially acceptable. Truth doesn't need approval. That's what most people can't handle. They want truth to bend. They want truth to adjust. They want truth to be just soft enough that it doesn't disturb their comfort. But real truth does not do that. Real truth cuts through illusion, and that's why people avoid it. Now, this is where I differ on both sides, actually, because on one side, you have people who only believe in the physical world, that, everything is matter, everything is just chemicals, it's just atoms, everything is random, bro. There is no spirit, there is no soul, there is no deeper reality, and I don't buy any of that. Because I've experienced way too much in my life. I've seen way too much and I've felt too damn much. Dreams, intuition, energy, patterns, synchronicities, the mind affecting the body, the inner world shaping the outer world. I don't believe that reality is only physical. But then you have the other side. You have the spiritual people, the new age people, who go way too far in the opposite direction. Everything becomes subjective. Everything becomes your truth. Everything becomes, oh, it's just vibes, bro. It's vibes, crowd. Feelings, being able to manifest stuff into reality without actually taking any steps yourself. The positive thinking crowd that if you just, om and meditate on it enough without doing anything in the physical realm, that it will happen. If that was the case, why are so many people that are into manifestation poor? It's just not a thing. Pretending darkness disappears if you don't look at it. And I don't buy that BS either. Because wishful thinking is simply not truth. Comfort is also not truth. Just because you pretend something isn't there doesn't mean it just disappears. You can meditate all day. You can say all these affirmations all day. You can write in affirmations in books all day. You can talk about love and life and peace and harmony all day. But if you're ignoring reality, you are simply not awake. You are escaping. And a lot of modern spirituality has become escape, designed as enlightenment. People don't want the truth. They want to be spiritually anesthetized. They want something that makes the pain feel meaningful without forcing them to confront what is actually happening. That's why I reject both extremes. Extremes are bad in any case, in any shape, form, and fashion, no matter what you're dealing with. I reject the cold materialistic views that say nothing exists beyond the physical. And I also reject the extremely soft spiritual view that says truth is whatever you want it to be. Truth is subjective. I believe that reality is much deeper than the physical, but I also believe that it has structure. There are laws, there are patterns, and there are consequences. There's order to the madness, even if we don't fully understand it. That's the difference. Spiritual reality does not mean fantasy. Spirituality without truth becomes delusion. Truth without spirit becomes dead. You need both. It's like yin and yang. Without up, there is not down. Without left, there is not right. Without cold, there is not hot. You need a happy medium. You need the ability to observe reality clearly and the humility to admit that reality is bigger than what you can simply measure. This is where real wisdom, is found. It's where it begins. Not in pretending that we know everything. Not in pretending nothing can be known, but in saying, there's truth. I do not own it, yet I seek it. This is the position. And this is where most people fail, because most people don't seek truth. They seek confirmation. They seek comfort. They seek agreement. They want that comforting blanket of bullshit. They want the world to reflect back what they already believe. And then when something comes to challenge that, they reject it. Not because it's false, but because it threatens their identity. This is why truth is dangerous. Truth doesn't challenge, doesn't just challenge your ideas, It challenges who you think you are. And most people, they would rather protect their identities than to see clearly. This is why the whole my truth crowd is so damn dangerous. Because once truth becomes personal, nobody has to be wrong. Nobody has to change. Nobody has to confront a damn thing. Nobody has to grow. You can just say, oh, that's my truth, bro. And you become untouchable. This is not wisdom. This is ego hiding behind structured language. Your perceptive can be yours. Your experience can be yours. Your feelings, of course, they can be yours. But truth is not yours. You don't own the truth. Truth is not mine. Truth is what we are trying to align with. And alignment matters. Because when you live out of alignment with truth, you create suffering for everyone. You can lie to yourself for a while. You can numb yourself. You can anesthetize yourself. You can distract yourself. You can surround yourself with people who agree with you, with yes men. But reality always comes to collect. Not as karma, not as some magical scorekeeper, not as consequence even. If you ignore your body, it breaks down. If you ignore your mind, it turns against you. If you ignore patterns, you repeat them. If you ignore truth, your life becomes built on illusion. If you don't clean your room, the room is a disaster. You can't just will it to clean itself. It doesn't happen. This isn't punishment. This is cause and effect. And this is why truth matters so much. Because truth is not just an idea. Truth is the foundation. If your foundation is false, everything built on top of that foundation becomes unstable. Relationships, beliefs, identity, spirituality, and purpose. All of this. And that's what I had to personally learn the hard way. I spent years in chaos. Addiction, distraction, women, old patterns, trying to force meaning out of things that were absolutely destroying me. And when I finally started getting clean and sober and disciplined and aware, I realized something very important. The truth was always there. I just wasn't ready to see it. Because seeing the truth means losing excuses. And that's the part that people do not want to talk about or accept. The truth gives you clarity, but it also takes away all your hiding places that you used to have. Once you see the pattern, you can't pretend you don't see it. It's not possible. Once you see the lie, you can't comfortably live inside it anymore. Once you see your own role in your own suffering, you can't keep blaming everything outside of yourself. And that is frightening and painful. But it's also freedom. This is why awareness isolates people at first. It creates isolation. Not because you're better than anyone, because you're going to go through that though. Not because you're above people, but because you stop being able to participate in the same illusions that you are a part of. You can still love people. You can still respect people. You can still learn from people. But you can't unknow what you know. You can't go back to pretending that comfort is the same as truth. And that's the price. Truth will cost you the version of yourself that needed all those lies to survive. But it gives you something better over time. If you choose to continue that path, that journey, it gives you clarity. And clarity is not always peaceful. Sometimes clarity hurts. Sometimes clarity makes you quiet. Sometimes clarity shows you things you wish you had never seen. But I would rather live with painful clarity than comfortable blindness. Because comfort without truth is a cage. It's a prison. And truth, even when it hurts, is still freedom, which is better than the prison. So when I talk about truth, I'm not talking about, being right in every single argument. I'm not talking about ego. I'm not talking about walking around, acting like you know everything, that you're superior to everyone. That's not wisdom. Wisdom is knowing that the truth exists and still, remaining humble enough to keep seeking it. Wisdom is being able to say, I might be wrong. But also being strong enough to say, not everything is relative. Some things are real. Some things are false. Some things are harmful. Some things are corrupt. Some things are true whether people approve of them or not. And this is where real discernment begins. Discernment is not, paranoia. Discernment is not believing every thought that comes into your mind. Discernment is also not calling every feeling truth. Discernment is the ability to separate, feeling from fact, comfort from clarity, belief from reality, and ego from intuition. This is the hard work. This is the real work. And this work is not glamorous. It is a daily part of your work. It's a daily cycle. It's how you respond when you're triggered. It's how you pause before reacting. It's how you admit when you're wrong. It's how you stop chasing comfort. It's how you stop needing the crowd to validate what you see. Because truth doesn't become more truth because people agree with it. And truth does not become false because people reject it. This is what I believe, You don't have to believe what I believe. But there is truth. Not my truth, not your truth. The truth. We may only see pieces of it. We may only understand parts of it. We may need like humility in how we approach it, but it exists. And if you care about waking up, if you care about actual awareness, if you care about becoming free, then you have to stop asking, does this make me feel good? Instead, start asking, is this true? Because if you chase comfort, you'll believe anything. But if you chase the truth, if you seek the truth, you may end up standing alone sometimes, and that's fine. At least you'll be standing in reality. Don't let these people manipulate you.